Okie dokie. Wait for this to actually pick up, because I'm sure no one's hearing this right now, because it takes a while for YouTube to actually show the live if someone's waiting. So yeah, hopefully the sound is not completely garbage. Audio video check, if anyone can hear this right now. Oh my god, and that fell because the python is caught on the bottom of the aquarium stand, and that's not cool. Come on, phone. How do people stream from their phone? I almost hit the end button, just putting the phone back on the little holder. And the end button is like instantaneous on mobile. You can just end the stream with one touch, one rogue touch. Why? How? But streaming from YouTube on mobile apparently is like not cool anymore because it defaults to vertical. And I don't think vertical is there yet in terms of interface and user friendliness. So, yeah. Audio, video, good. All right, thanks, N. Cool. Or as good as it's gonna be, basically. Because mobile, I'm wearing a lavalier mic, wireless lavalier, so it should be okay. Hopefully, whenever I start draining tanks and it sounds like a babbling brook, what do they call it? I don't know, it's be loud as fuck, but hopefully the noise cancellation does its job. Okay. Vertical doesn't let me turn off my screen, my battery gets low. I know. That's one of the worst things. Like, I pay for YouTube Premium so that I can turn off my phone screen and listen. That doesn't work. And let's see, I'm gonna try to catch who's in here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, like, I can't read a participants list. Can't totally keep up with chat in real time completely. If there are plant questions, it would probably be easier for me to notice if you tag me or use like the red question mark emoji thing. Just something that flags me. Like, what's the best way to trim plants? The best way is not even the way that I do, because the best way is to use very sharp scissors so you don't damage any of the tissue in the process of trimming. So like when you're trimming a stem, you trim at the node with sharp scissors. I just kind of pinch it off with my fingers. Still works. Oh, you know what? When you just tagged me, Jenna, did not even highlight. I think because my name on here is actually Stephen P. Try at Stephen P. and see if that works. Because, yeah, it doesn't highlight. Scotty wants to know about each tank. Yeah, we'll do that. Hi. People rolling in. So which one should I do first? Some of the tanks are unremarkable or in a state of flux of, like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Oh man, that didn't work either, Coro. What the stupid StreamYard. But I do love you, Coro. It just it didn't tag right, so maybe not as much. Take us to Jenna's office? Absolutely not. Yep, didn't. Yeah, that didn't work either. Cool. Good job, StreamYard. This is helpful. Yeah, maybe the red question mark emoji will work. Okay, let's just look at this tank. So this tank is actually the one that will eventually become a saltwater tank. And I am too tall to get a level view of this, so I'm going to sit. But currently, it's growing a crap ton of Limnophila aquatica. It's the fuzzy plant you see here. Some tufts of hair algae, Flora, which is where these gold white clouds like to breed. So I don't really remove it too much. Get some of it out. Some valves. And allegedly there are some C123 corridoras in here. Haven't seen them in a while. Every now and then I do a wellness check on them, and you know they're still alive, but most of the time it's an unknown. So yeah. All right, let me scroll up real quick. Yeah, all caps might work. So tagging on YouTube is weird. Yeah, maybe it's just the mobile issue. I don't know. Man, streaming on mobile is hard. Kudos to anyone who pulls it off successfully and is able to read chat and all that, because man, it's hard. So yeah, this kind of I have a lot of like plant dumpsters where there's fish in there or not, and I don't really like arrange the plants in any kind of fancy way. Not an aquascape. Don't really pay a whole lot of attention to how much algae is growing unless it just like starts to choke out the plants and get really out of control, because I'm okay with stuff colony breeding in here too. This is definitely not the worst of the plants, planted tanks, I mean. But yeah, there's not a whole lot in here. There's the white cloud minnow, gold white cloud minnows. There's one random rainbow fish that hatched that I don't. God, stupid everything. There it is, right there. Don't know what it's gonna be. Probably won't know for a couple of decades. Maybe in like 6 months. And yeah, gold white cloud C123s. It won't be too hard to relocate them whenever I decide to go salt. But I haven't even begun to do the proper research for salt. So yeah, I need some time to overthink that for a little while. But look at you, streaming on mobile and not in vertical. I'm proud of you. Thank you, Zen. I am resisting it. All right, common name of that fluffy plant. Have it, but no idea the name. It's Limnophila aquatica, and you may or may not have it. If you requested it on, well, I don't know. I don't know if I've sent it to you, but there's a lot of plants that look like it. It kind of looks like Kabamba, kind of looks like Limnophila sessiliflora, kind of looks like probably some other kind of Limnophila. There's some fuzzy plants like that, but this one specifically I got from Myrtle, and it's Limnophila aquatica. Nah, I'm growing a lot of it out. Yeah, this chat is fast, and on mobile it's like holy crap. Zenny doesn't like vertical. They gotta work on the vertical. They gotta work on the interface. I can see that they're making improvements to it. One thing that bothers me is just not being able to turn off my screen. I can get out of YouTube and browse on my phone, but as soon as my screen is off, the vertical stream stops. It's also very easy to swipe to the next stream, and the next stream you swipe to could be any weird shit. So, not a fan of that either. If they want to be TikTok, they got some work to do. All right, maybe I should start draining a tank. With the Python. There we go. My hornwort doesn't ever have roots, but my foxtail does. Yeah, hornwort is fine with floating. It'll just keep growing and growing and growing. Same with like anacris. Like the live bearer mosh pit is full of plants. Most of that mass is guppy grass. But this is like, this right here is a piece of anacris, and who knows how long it is. Oh, there's a root. Look at the little root. How long is... Oh my god. There we go. About 5 feet. I don't know. A lot of easy stuff in here because all the guppy grass grows really densely. Got some floating stems. You know, there's... Hey, Brookley. There is a bunch of Anubias and Java Fern down here. And glare. Lots of glare in the daytime. And this is raining slow, so I bet I've got to keep Yep. Kink check. Hello, dog. Ha ha ha. Found you. My hornwort started turning red. Is that normal? I've never kept hornwort, so I don't know what's normal with hornwort because I was sufficiently warned against it because of the needle shedding that it apparently does. So I don't know. A heat gun, thermometer, do you think going through the glass gives false readings? I think those heat guns are sort of kind of accurate, like to a level that I'm fine with, because I'm not like trying to match within a decimal degree or even within 2 degrees, honestly. I've gone through the, oh, let's look. Let's see what the difference is. Needle shedding is miserable. Teenage Mike remembers the pain. What's up, Mike? Okay. Let's 70. There we go. 74.2. I know that's really hard to see. I don't know why, but it's very hard to see. Okay. And then let's shoot from the top. 74 and 0.4. Hard to see. It's not so bad. Like a difference wise. This tank, I guess a lot of things are 74 today. 75. So slightly warmer down here. Interesting. It's like the Christmas tree that never got watered and then dragged to the curb in February. Needles everywhere. Fighting staghorn algae at the moment. Siamese algae eaters would take care of that if you want to deploy a fish to fix the problem. Otherwise, it's just the perpetual balancing of light and nutrients and CO2 levels. Let me scroll back up. Did I just go away for a second? Something blipped. Hopefully I'm back. Hopefully I never left, but if I did leave. Red question mark emoji. How do you use layers in Krita for drawing fish and plants? On the side bar of Krita, there is a list of layers. Usually starts with like one, like a background and a layer one. You can press the plus sign and it'll add a new layer. The only problem is if you want to use the fill tool, you have to use the same layer as your outline as you do your fill tool. Yeah, I mean, Krita is pretty powerful software. There's a lot of different buttons and features, and I haven't even discovered all of it because I find out what I am comfortable using and I kind of stick with that until I feel a need to do anything else. All right, that's a lot of water. So let's move on to the mosh pit. I need to actually do a little bit of culling in here. I see a couple of them with sunken bellies. I thought there was a parasite, and I've treated this tank a lot for parasites, and I don't think it's a parasite issue. I think it might just be genetics. Every now and then I see one like that. Oh no. Oh, I just got a thing. One gift. Is that a gift of membership? Doesn't show me shit on my phone, so I'm sorry, but thank you, Big Steve. If it's Big Steve, I assume it's a gift of membership. That's his thing. What's that thing at the end of the python? This is called a cleaning claw made by Lee's. Inexplicably hard to get now, but there are a couple of rando websites that I can't really vouch for. I've never used them. eBay also might have it, but it's cool because it fits on the end of the python really snugly, perfectly. It has small grates. I'm sure like the teeniest tiniest fish could still fit through there, but if I didn't have this or like a mesh bag or sponge or something on the end of my python, I cannot even tell you how many freaking guppies would stupidly swim up into this and just go straight to the drain. I am not going to spend my water change time trying to rescue guppies. SES and 3D printed version. Oh yeah, I bet so. Just something like some kind of graded filter thing that that fits over the python. Please cleaning claw. Let's see. I'm scrolling back up in the chat because I can see like 2 messages at a time. This is awful. I found my TDS meter. I used distilled water and read 2. I checked my tap and it said 192, so it's 190, I assume. Last night, same water source was 178. Okay. Well, that tells me that you have things in your water. Not much else. And that the distilled water has little to no things. Just put something over it with a rubber man. Just counted 30. Please clean claw. Okay, cool. One with a clown trigger. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Truman Show. Nice. Got to wonder anything grows down here with how much light gets filtered through all the floaters that I don't take care of. But it just goes to show the Anubias is fine and basically nothing. Like no light. I mean, it's not like it's growing, but it's not dying. What all water do you want us to test again? Tank water, bowl water, bong water. What else? What's the TDS of bong water? What if you use RO in your bong water? Curious. Mike said, I feel like TDS is kind of the new pH where some folks don't really understand exactly what it is, but a whole lot of people sure seem to talk about it, and it's cheap to check. Yep. With the whole, I think TDS meters were marketed to tell you, like, if your TDS is above insert number of your drinking water, then it's not safe to drink. Well, that is not true at all. The light even turns red when I check my tap water with the TDS meter. Like, this is bad. Like, are you sure? Because it's actually really good. It's good water. Siphon tube screen, cool. So yeah, there's options. There's no claw or anything to poke the substrate. Yeah, I don't even use it for that purpose. But the way it is designed. Hey, Debbie. Yeah, the way it is designed, it's almost like it is meant to go into the gravel, get really deep down in there. But I don't do that. I don't gravel back any of my substrates. I rely on filtration to just kick things up. One day I'll actually get a powerful pump to get water out of the tanks faster, but this has been working for a long time. So when I say one day I might get a pump, that actually might mean I'll never ever get a pump. But I think about it every time I sit here and watch the water line drain, water drain really slowly. Let's see. Fathom came in. Depths Unknown is a cool Python cap as well. He 3D printed them. Okay, cool. 3D printers are awesome. Let's see what the temp is down here. 73. 72 through the glass. Yeah, it's not so like wildly inaccurate that it would bother me if I measure through the glass or on top. General stability is more important than precision. At least in my case, and the stuff that I do in my fish room. Because everybody's fish room is different. And we can all get along in perfect harmony and not be triggered by CO2 or water changes or, you know, anything that's done differently from how you do it. It's going to be okay. Zen wants a 3D printer, but also know it will likely be a large and very expensive paperweight. Yeah, I want one too, but I also would like, before I get one, to have like an exhaustive list of everything that I would do with it. I feel like I'd get one and then my mind would blank out of like, what am I going to use this for? Pump will save you money on water if you pay for it. Are you running the tap for suction? Yes. Yeah. So the tap for suction is not super powerful, and also it is using up a lot of water. I'm grateful that I live in an area where like we have all the water. So water conservation is not like a big thing down here that's highly practiced and preached. But yeah, it is a problem. I mean, I could also go turn off the water and the siphon would continue, but then every time I change tanks, I'd have to turn it off, and also it would be draining a hell of a lot slower. So convenience. Got to have momentum, be in the ADHD zone, and anything you don't have planned ahead will just never happen. Yep. All right. Next. So yeah, that was a live very much, but this one, it currently has straggler guppies that I haven't caught with the net yet, and some more plant farming going on. This is not a CO2 injected tank either. So it's just it's another kind of plant dumpster. And there are longfin Paleatus cories in this tank as well. That's what it's mainly meant for, is to breed them, maybe let them colony breed. They're sure as hell not going to do it in the summer. What is my tap temp right now? Whenever I start filling tanks, I'll check it out. It's probably in the 80s though. Oh, cories or homplosomas. They are Paleatus or homplosoma. Paleatum now? Yeah. Homplosoma paleatum. Names. Okay, Koros. How does water change math work? If your tank has a low water line and you add 50% of the water, allow it to mix, then remove that same volume, is that the same as removing 25 and replacing it? I mean, if your water line is, it depends on why your water line is low. If it's from evaporation, then the concentration of dissolved solids is going to increase in that volume of water. So if all those dissolved solids came from your tap, then you're going to only slightly dilute it, but you're not going to have the baseline, you're going to slightly dilute it, but you're not going to have the baseline of your starting TDS from your tap water. That's why people recommend topping off with distilled or RO water, and I don't, because it's not. I don't get like a crap ton of evaporation and my water change amounts vary a lot, so it has not really been a problem. Okay. Overhead sumps are great. Love mine. I don't gravel back water change from overhead sump. I've heard good things about those too. Welcome in, Dennis Engel. It's midday on the Devil's Armpit. What temperature is your water going to come out? I'm guessing 82. I think it's gonna be higher than. I think it's gonna be mid to high 80s. I'm gonna guess 85 and hedge my bets there. And Zen made a cheat sheet for all the corridor names and lineages changes. Intentionally low. I'm just saying if your tank allows you to add 50%. Like if you drain it out and then add, if your TDS, if you are intentionally draining out a higher TDS volume of water, and then you're replacing it with a lower TDS water volume of water, then it will reduce your TDS overall in that volume of water by however much you change it out. I am not going to work out numbers in my head at all. My car says it's 100 degrees here, and it's currently 97 degrees outside. Haven't stepped foot outside today, and now I'm not gonna. Feels like 113. Just, oh my God. All right, well, while that's draining, so yeah, these aren't the most remarkable tanks that I have. Just kind of plant dumpsters, and you know, the mosh pit's the mosh pit. It does mosh pitty things. All that's draining, I think I'm gonna add GH boost, because one thing my tap water is lacking is GH. And when I say lacking, it has zero GH. So I use Nylock G GH boost powder. It has some ratio of calcium to magnesium, maybe 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 or something. Doesn't matter. But more calcium than magnesium generally is preferred. Also some potassium mixed in there. It works out to about one tablespoon scoop will raise GH by 6 degrees per 10 gallons. 1 tablespoon per 10 gallons. And I am not precise. So like the mosh pit will get 2 scoops. Two-ish scoops, yeah. And then this one down here, not the desiccant at, no. Yeah, that'll do. And this one, that works. All right, catching up on check. Here's some more math. If you change 25%, it's the top of the tank. The bottom is filled with escape plants, maybe a pirate ship. Are you really changing more than 40% because of displacement? Nope. Because I have very deep substrates in a lot of my tanks too. So like I drain the tank halfway down the length of the tank as well. It's actually changing like quite a bit of water. But I do not worry about exact. Just remove some water, put fresh water, fish happy. What if the tank leaves the stick? No. Word problems are the devil. What's your favorite dry ferts? I'm going to switch over. Do you like all-in-one or macro micro? All-in-one dry ferts, kind of uncommon. And so the one that I have experience with is the one that I think Luke Wong's friend, it's called Hector's Everything is the name of the dry fert. But when I say all in one, it is all in one. And it's kind of based on you having nothing in your water, like RO water, blank canvas type thing. So it adds KH as well. And I don't want to add any KH. If I were going to do dry ferts, I would just, which I've done before, but I was too inconsistent with it. And I fertilize even less when it's less convenient. So, but I was using the Nylock G macros and micros, and I wouldn't dose as much potassium as I would micros, and I wouldn't dose as much nitrate. I wouldn't dose any phosphate because, like, my fish take care of the nitrate. My tap water has the phosphate. The GH boost powder has the potassium. So it's a lot of micros, and then like in some of my tanks where the nitrate's consumed a little bit more quickly, I would put a little bit of nitrate powder in there. And then I just kind of stopped worrying about getting the exact levels. I don't have the capacity to be consistent about that. So I kind of make things work within my brain parameters as well. I scroll. Number one reason I do water changes at 5 a.m. is due to the 90 plus temperature that comes out of the well during the summer months. Yep. I have been doing a lot of late night water changes myself for that reason. Say I have a 10-gallon tank that I keep 5 gallons of water. Or you're killing me. And I was to add 2.5 gallons or 50% to dilute them, then remove the same 2.5. Is that the same as removing 25% of the original 5 gallons? Maybe. Assume a spherical water change. I'm gonna put your ass in timeout for hurting my brain. Yeah. Oh yeah, removing detritus. Zen says I often put about 10% in to stir up the mold and stuff in the plants and then remove as much as possible while it's all floating around. So aren't I technically doing more removing detritus? Yeah, I use a turkey baster to stir it up, but same principle. There's a plant company in Canada with actual all-in-one dry fert, but I'd buy individual salts from them instead for the customization, like you said. Yeah. I used to worry a little bit about, like, too much about adding additional nitrates from fertilizer, like thinking, oh no, I'm going to boost the nitrates by like 5 ppm, and then they're already at 40. I don't think it's a big deal, honestly. Not if I'm going to be doing regular water changes weekly anyway. You ever seen a problem or reactions from fish and ferts? I have not, other than CO2. Too much CO2, obviously, is not a good thing, and that will kill your fish. I imagine if you... I would think that one of the main dangerous ferts that you could put in your plants is, put in your tank, is those micro mixes, like CSM plus B or Miller's Microplex or something. I think that's what it's called. I don't know, but you can raise the concentration of things that fish may not like. But I don't know definitively. I know Miller's, I think, maybe has a little bit more copper than others, which could be a problem. I've not noticeably that I can like link to fertilizer that I don't think I've killed or harmed fish with fertilizers. Hey Juanita, Whizzle. If you remove 8 ounces of algae and replace with 8 ounces of water, is that more or less than doing an 8-ounce water change? Yeah. That's my answer, is yes and no and maybe. Okay. Let's play with the puffers. So, I recently added 2 smaller puffers. And one of them is just like, look at me, give me all the food. I'm the puffer. I'm the only puffer in this tank. I'm the best. Ignore everything else in this tank. Always there. Don't bite me. Get a little bit too curious. We'll go ahead and drain this tank. How's the noise level? Because it's loud as hell now with all the water running. Hopefully the noise cancellation is working, but also not making me sound terrible. Wait, is that the middle puffer or the OG? It's the new puffer. The one of the two new ones. If I missed anybody's question, go ahead and put it in chat again, except for Coro. Let's see if we can find other puffers. A lot of fish usually get active in this tank during the water change. Like you'll start to see the coolies come out and circle around. There's the OG. She used to be on the other side of the tank. Now she's found this spot in the front. And there she goes. One day she'll learn to love me. Maybe let's not let that happen. There we go. The water running is louder in real life from my office than in the stream. Yeah. Maybe I should put one of those puffers in my 60. Be a good good sized tank. Maybe get more than one. I don't regret getting multiple puffers. I should have got multiple puffers from the beginning, but I didn't want to spend $600 freaking dollars on puffers. So I spent $200 plus $400. That works out. That makes it cost less. Silver Creek. Puffers are like cats, very selfish. I will take dogs and Corey cats, thank you. Except for Coro, I thought you loved me. That was before the word problems. Yeah, this was not shy at all. Can't you mix them because they're not that one type? I mean, so I've never had Amazon puffers, but that's kind of the one that people talk about being the community puffer, as in like they like to be in groups. In general, I think puffers are more comfortable with the presence of their own kind, but not all of them. Some of them will kill on sight, and the rest of them will protect their territory at a minimum. So there still has to be places for them to hide, places for them to protect, and places for them to block line of sight from other puffers. What's up, Jeff? Oh, look, here's the other one, the other small one, new one. Maybe OG will come out. I think someone asked what the little fish are. In the back, those are raccoon tetras. Iphestobricon, Procyon. The puffer is the one that only joined drama club, wanted to go to theater camp. Indeed. Maybe I'll feed them right now. I might encourage them to come out. Don't worry, Annette. Vibrobites. They also eat vibrobites. Eduardo says, did I see shrimp in the puffer tank? Yes, you did. There actually used to be a crap ton more shrimp in here because the original puffer doesn't really care about them. But I think the numbers are reducing with these new ones. I think they are maybe a little quicker and less shy, less lazy. But yeah, there's a full colony of coal shrimp have been thriving in this tank for over a year. Didn't expect that to happen. I put these shrimp in there to feed the puffer. That was the purpose. Oops. All right. Sorry for the glare, but Windows. Pick one and eat it. There you go. That's a snail shell. Yes, go after the ones that are the most difficult to get to. That's smart. And then also attack it like it's going to run away from you. Focus. Yeah. I know it's just like an alarming amount of food sitting on the bottom here, but there's also 30-something coolie loaches, and if the tetras don't go after it and the puffers don't, the coolie loaches will have this taken care of short order, pretty quick. Still working, filling out paperwork before the next service call. Paperwork is fun. Sweet crypt tank. Thank you, Dennis. Do you know the sex of the two new puppers? Not definitively. I asked Johnny because we know that the big one is a female. So I asked Johnny to send me one male and one female, and he did the best he could given the size of them right now. But we'll find out soon enough. But yeah, this tank is almost all crypts. There's some Anubias, a little bit of Java fern, and in the back some Bulbitis, but mostly crypts. Like 20-ish species of crypts, many of which look just like Wintii. So couldn't tell you what all they are. Okay. Let's check out the sad state of this plant farm. But first, more puffer. Oh, don't let me get too close. Okay. Fine. Okay. Probably this weekend is whenever I'll do reorganization of the plant farm. I took a lot of plant mass out of here in preparation for the summer growth, but there's still some things. I think one of the main problems with the plant farm, and it's not like hindering things greatly, but there is a lack of flow. I didn't want to do a canister filter. I have this power head on the other side. It gets clogged pretty easily. I need to put like a sponge or something at the base of it. And then like an Aqua Clear 50 and a 40-gallon that goes across the top, like across the tank. But there's some dead spots, and I'm getting like blackbeard algae and shit. So, but all in all, I don't send out plants with blackbeard algae, so no worries about that. Okay, well, I think these test strips are garbage. I'm reading 0 on everything. Are you testing RODI water? Put that in the dirted tank. Are all these tanks on CO2? So yeah, what Zen said, I'm weaning off the puffer tank just in case. And in fact, let's see. And see, that's another thing I need to revisit. I don't think this is a high enough bubble count for a 40-gallon tank that uses an in-tank diffuser, But yeah, you can see this was the puffer tank, and I've got it. It's off now. No CO2. So far, this is the only CO2 tank that I've shown. And as you can see, it's like not looking the best, because one thing that's worse than CO2 is inconsistent CO2. I mean, worse than no CO2 is inconsistent CO2. Good quality, high levels CO2. It's great when they don't kill fish. So I've got to dial that in. Are you certain about the BBA thing? What, did I send you BBA? That could have been intentional for you. I could barely count the bubbles on my 40 bubble counter. Yeah, that's really what I got to get it to, but I need to have time to come into the fish room. I need to put a drop checker back in here too, but like come back in here and crank up the bubble count and set timers to come back and babysit it, making sure that everything is good. Possibly. Well, if you ever get a plant with BBA on it, let me know, because that was not intending to do that. I don't like to send plants with algae on them. Sometimes there will be hair algae tangled up in there, but like spot algae, BBA, I don't want to introduce that to anybody. And if you ever see it on the plant, just trim that leaf off. Don't even try to kill it or fight it. All right. I use a small power head. I'm going to grab a filter. It's my best tank. Nice. Matt M, welcome. I'm sure you've been asked this before, but what are your thoughts on the co-op light? Let's go look at the co-op light. Uh-oh. Hear me? Because I just straight up broke this lavalier receiver. What a piece of shit. Oh, Jesus. I stood up and I snapped the housing off of it. And so now I can't charge. Okay, good, good. So just the housing broke. God. Yeah. Well, won't be charging the phone. If need be, I'll switch to just the phone mic. Hopefully that's not terrible. Stupid. Amazon, all caps, generic random brand of electronics. Okay, anyway, co-op light. I haven't even dialed it in yet. It's still 100%. This is not a CO2 injected tank. So a lot of hygro polysperma sunset in here, some Java Ferna stuck in here, and some hair algae, and some Bacopa caroliniana, and some hygro augustifolia, a lot of Pogos, a lot of octopus, a lot of guppy grass that I don't want to be in here, but it doesn't care that I don't want it to be in there. Yeah, it's super bright. People complain about the color tone of it. And in my opinion, I think people who do complain about the color tone of it are just used to using very cheap LEDs. Blue LEDs are way, way cheaper. They're very prolifically on LED lights. Plants utilize them very efficiently, utilize blue spectrum very efficiently. Blue penetrates through the water a lot more efficiently. So you switch from something like that you're used to seeing to something that's like this, it's going to look really weird to you. It's going to look odd, off, like it's not supposed to be that way. But these are much better plant growers. I mean, Chihiros is better than this, but you know, Chihiros is double the price of this for the same size. All right. Flipped out for a second. What are the reddish plants? I don't know how far back that was, so I don't know. Can you make a guide on what algae are worth fighting with peroxide and what you should just trim and remove? I would say any algae that is not growing directly on a plant, you can fight with peroxide. Like if you got, I've had like claudiphora growing on wood. Peroxide is pretty good against that. Nano, what's up, Jay? I'm scrolling. God, this is really hard to keep up in. If you meant the other tank, Alternanthera renekii. Yeah, it seemed like two of them. Well, I have various flavors of Alternanthera, and I don't know which is which anymore. Except for there's one that Mike, All Things Fish, gave me that has a long name that starts with a P. I know that one's not renekii. Ew. Viber bite stuck to the glass. It's nasty. Ooh. OG is out. Interesting how her color is different. They get a little more golden as they age. Look at them. Getting along. Not trying to fight each other. They worked out their shit. Why isn't Ginger up there keeping up with chat? I don't know. Don't know. Yes, the pain in the butt. Which one, Mike? You tell me. You tell me. You sent it to me. It's a long name. Okay. Next tank. This is a 5-gallon tank that's growing snails and storage for Siswansertang and more plant dumpster clutter type of thing. I refuse to let Zen read the chat. Yep, we'll go with that. It's my fault Zen won't stream. I don't even think I have a good specimen of the pain in the butt Alternanthera in this tank. But I can show you whenever I get to the living room because I have a crap ton of Alternanthera in the living room tank. I'm not going to change the water to 5-gallon or this horrible, horrible shrimp tank. But we can talk about this shrimp tank for a while. So this is a fluval chi. What's special about the fluval chi is that it's bad. It's a bad tank, and it shouldn't exist. So it came with this filter that has a weak-ass LED on. It's like a big old box. I took it off, but it was a big box that like sits partially in the tank. The LED is in the tank, so therefore it just grows algae all the time. I took that out, replaced it with just like a cheap bowl light. But then there's another thing that's bad about this tank, and it's because the glass is slightly tinted dark. Who would do such a thing? Who would do that? But yeah, I've made it kind of utilitarian, less annoying tank with a cheap light up there, co-op, easy flow thingy back there, and some blue dream shrimp, which are hiding right now, but they're in there. Don't know how blue they are because of the fucking tinted glass. It's a bad tank. It's a really bad tank. Don't get it. Replace tank with kegerator. Hope everyone remembered to give a like. If you like it, like it. Suswassertang. Suswasser. Suswassertang. Which P name? What type of plant isn't even? I've been swapping about infinity, not paying great attention. Mike, are you paying attention? It's an Alternanthera. That's all I remember. And it's not very red. Has different colorations on it. With the number of likes, the number of people here, that's a negative. Oh no. Oh no. I sent you some alternate there ossipus a while ago, maybe? Maybe. I have to look it up again. Jay has one of those tanks. I don't think it is tinted. Maybe a different version, yes. The filter and light are useless. Yeah. It seems tinted. Like, I've cleaned off the glass, the front glass. Just looking at the difference here, it seems like it's very, very slightly tinted. And I've read online that it's tinted. I haven't actually, like, really up close checked, but I don't like it. I'm sure you've made it work, Jay. Probably a nice low light scape in there. I'm over it. It's a glass box with water in it. This is a snail farm because I don't have anything else in here but snails at the moment. And then this down here, might have to go on the floor. This is a bunch of coal shrimp and the Adolphoi cories, whatever they're, Hoplosoma, or I think they're Hoplosoma, Adolphoi, or Duplicarium, don't know. And these are baby Adolphoi cories that finally I got them to survive. And now my paranoia lies in when do I let them go in this tank? How big should they be to let them go in the 29? Don't know. So I've been kind of keeping them there until I get the courage to release them. Anybody keep a large school of hatchet fish? Pros or cons? Seems underrated. I've heard good things about hatchet fish. I haven't had any. I know they spend a lot of time at the top, so it could be jumpers. I have a lot of topless tanks. If you listen to podcasts, Watercolors Aquarium Gallery has a really good podcast, more science-oriented approach to the hobby. Think you would like it. Where can I find this podcast? Is it on Spotify or YouTube? I definitely would take a look. I like science-based approaches. I like when the science-based approaches are based in actual science that, or peer-reviewed studies that you can go directly to the source and evaluate to the extent that I can understand what the hell they're even saying. What bothers me when doing research for this video that I'm working on is when I find something really interesting about water hardness, and then I realize that is literally the only website that says anything related to that. For example, redox in calcium and magnesium. You can find a really thorough, seems to be very well thought out article about calcium and magnesium redox. The only source of it is the guy who owns whatever American something, the company that sells Wonder Shell. And I don't want to immediately dismiss something like that just because they sell a product that seems to remedy the thing that they're talking about, but it sure makes it tough to trust when there's no cited sources. So yeah. Shane, yes, I think it's everywhere. Awesome. A lot of floating plants helps with jumping. Yeah, thanks for that link, Zen. I like my science. It only needs to make sense to me. Hatchet fish must be in a tank with a lid. That's what I thought. Yeah, jumpers. I try to listen to Alex, but it goes in one side. And I think Alex, oh my God. Alex has lists of all of his sources, which is a good thing. And the information he provides is very dense. So if there's like a topic that he covers that I want to absorb, it's not just a one and done listen for me. I might absorb 10% of it from one listening session. All right, that's enough water out of there. So check this out. I didn't even realize this was happening, and one day I noticed it. This is Java moss. It's grown up this plastic wall in the back out of the water. Stays humid enough back there. It stays alive. And also, what is this? The other one, Arikia? Could do without that. I watch, no listening needed. But yeah, and then doing the water parameter research, I have definitely realized how little actual peer-reviewed science there is out there on the way some of our fish respond to certain water parameters. A lot of the things that get repeated, if there is a link to a study, it's like, yes, in rainbow trout, this happened this one time by this one guy who did this one thing. Like, okay, I don't know if that can apply to like all the things that we keep, but that's a cool bit of information. Too many damn variables, which is why most aquarium advice is like, keep things stable. Don't change it. Let's see. 16 is what I mean, like the way they move in school. We're talking about hatchets. I don't know. I feel like I missed some stuff in chat because mobile shows 2 to 3 messages at once. Anyway, I don't even know how much water I drained out of here, but it seems like a lot. Seems like enough. And I got to do something. So this is why I will never use pool filter sand again. The grains are so freaking fine. I do not have this problem in any other sand tank but pool filter sand. The grains are so fine that the mulm does not go past the surface. It just sits here on the top and stirs up. I'm going to have to do a thorough cleaning out, actual substrate back of this tank, and it is not going to be fun. In fact, I may end up, since all I have in here are snails, I may end up breaking this whole tank down and starting with a different substrate. It's that frustrating. Evergreen Psyche, happy Monday. Lots of variables and no cash to be made by researching, studying ornamental fish. Yep. The thing I was looking up today was like, there's actual studies that talk about what happens when fish that need a high amount of calcium and magnesium are put in conditions where it's super low. And there's research about how fish are able to efficiently use what very, very little amount of calcium and magnesium are available in like very soft water environments like Rio Negro. There is virtually nothing about ornamental fish and their adaptability from soft water to hard water. But anecdotally, a lot of people have no issue with doing that, like putting discus in high calcium, high magnesium environments. But then the question is like, how hard can the water actually be? Because like 6 degrees of GH versus like 25 degrees of GH, what will the difference be? And I don't like to just say things without knowing. when I mean knowing, I mean like having sources to cite that aren't just other random fucking YouTubers and articles on the internet. Because that's the problem with social media and aquarium advice, and I imagine other advice and other hobbies. But yeah. These are pygmy quarries, and only pygmy quarries, plus some snails and shrimp. There's like 20-something pygmy quarries in here. Let's see. Meantime, while this other research could be being done, we're all funding research to be done on quail, like giving quail cocaine to see if they become more promiscuous. That's funny. What tool do I use to measure K8, calcium and magnesium in the tanks? I have a magnesium test and a calcium test, which I don't do anymore because I'm adding magnesium and calcium powder directly because my tap water has 0. But a GH test, I just use a GH strips because I'm not concerned about the levels because I'm adding it myself, and nothing else is going to contribute to it significantly because certain rocks and stuff in non-CO2 injected tanks are not going to dissolve an 8.2 pH. But yeah, like the GH liquid test is fine, and test strips are what I use. Just looking for the presence of it in a specific range. I don't need precision for that. The random fucking YouTuber. Damn it, Mike. I love species only tanks, but it means you have to get more tanks. Yeah, my species only tanks are just for breeding purposes. Like these pygmy quarries will colony breed in here. I don't have to pull eggs, and I'll still get a couple of fry every now and then. Oh, did Mike gift memberships? Thank you, Mike. Random opinion on the internet. Well, random opinions are fine as long as they're caveated with opinion and not like scientifically proven that this thing I made up is true. That's a legit study being done, sadly. Well, maybe they're desperate to breed quail and they're just like, maybe if we coke them up, they'll start breeding faster. Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Mike. Gifted memberships. Jenna keeping the plant farmer fed. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Drain some out of here. New members: Nano, Wendy, Rachel, Linda, and Anthony. Does ChatGPT offer a random opinion generator? Yes, except the caveat is that it doesn't call it an opinion. It just makes things up and is like, yep. And I'm like, do you have any sources for that? And it'll make up the sources too. It'll be very convincing. If all you had was ChatGPT and no other form of internet, ChatGPT could gaslight you. Or you could gaslight ChatGPT and just tell it to tell you things you want to hear. Quail breed like crazy as it is. They lay every 18 hours. So they're just like, what happens if we really make them want to breed? Okay. That's enough water out of there. All right, let's move on to another plant dumpster. Plant dumpster. This one's actually CO2 injected. I don't know why. There's little rasmoras in here. Here's one. Here's two. I think I was trying to grow a massive boost in here in Java Fern. ChatGPT taking over the role of the random YouTuber. Well, the problem is it's ChatGPT is taking the information that has been proliferated over years and years of random YouTubers and forum posts and people who confidently say things that turn out to be completely untrue. But it doesn't know. You know, I've been using Claude, which is another learning language model, a large language model. The Claude 3.5 Sonnet, I think, is the current version of it. And I like it a lot better for analyzing information and even asking it for factual stuff, because it's like one of the only language models that will admit that it can hallucinate. ChatGPT insists that everything it says is correct, unless you say, that's not correct. And then it'll say, I apologize. Let me change everything to fit your narrative. Not very trustworthy. Crystal. Enough Coke and quail. For all we know, this is AI speaking right now. One day, it'll be indistinguishable. Okay. And this is only inhabited by shrimp and snails as well, like coal shrimp and snails. This was kind of a quarantine holding tank for some things, and I don't have any plans for it currently other than to hoard boosts. And you can see it was having an algae problem, and I dosed it with peroxide on the wood, and that's the dead algae result. But yeah, I just changed this water like out of routine and habit. Honestly, doesn't necessarily need it. You should ask what the AI system considers a hallucination, because technically, if it creates random thoughts or information through its database, that could be considered hallucinating. Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like, it only knows what it's been fed, and it can use what it knows to do mental gymnastics. Like, it'll just make up things. It's learned to be sort of creative, but it's only creative to the extent of which text and information is available to it. Did someone just become a member? Hey, Dennis. What the fuck Steven are doing? I are doing water changes because Kelly is in Minnesota, and there she is. Hello from Minnesota. Yeah, I tried to get ChatGPT to do chemistry, like balance equations. Like, I even gave it like a molarity of how much CO2 would be required in these parameters, like X gallons of water, and I think I gave it like certain KH, certain pH, dissolved CO2 content already in the water. And they gave me some wild ass number, and I'm like, I don't think that's right. And it's like, you're right, that's not. Here's a different number. I'm like, oh, thanks. I trust you. I'm not going to change the water in this either, but here's a boost hoarding bowl as well. Better look at it from this angle. Lots of boost. Just finished hiking for the day. Awesome. All right, it's the final tank I'm going to drain. Only took us an hour and 15 minutes to drain all these tanks. And then I'll check the temperature of the tap water. It's going to be bad. You don't need ChatGPT, you have me. I have Kelly to also hallucinate and generate random information. Do fake chemistry for me. If I disagree with your chemistry, do different chemistry. Quick poll. Hey, Luke, how do I tell someone that his product is both subpar quality and too expensive, 200% in my opinion, without the shipping, without being an asshole? Hey, Usama. Well, what is your relationship with this person? Because if he's a friend of yours, I feel like you could be candid with him, or maybe ask him why he's charging that much. Like, is there a production cost issue? And maybe we can work on that and see where we can cut corners if you even have that like information and knowledge to do that. And if it was a random company or person that I didn't have any like emotional attachment to, I don't think I'd say anything. I'd just not buy their product, honestly. Ask for a quote and saw an example in person. Oh, well, I mean, do you think if you told him, hey, you're like twice as much as you should charge, that he's just going to be like, okay, here's, I'm going to cut the price in half for you? Because yeah, I don't know. It's hard to navigate something like that because you don't know how, if it's a new product, if he sold it to a lot of people, if other people are happy with it. Like if he can get away with charging that much in general, and only people who have the knowledge of the actual quality and cost of the product are the ones who are going to balk at it, then he may not give a crap, honestly. Yep, what Jenna just said. What happened to that tank you were scaping with the rocks rimless? With the rocks. Oh, when? I don't know. Yeah, a lot of factors that go into pricing. Yeah, like take Dan's fish, for instance. Dan does not shy away from the fact that his fish are expensive. I think people will say that Dan's fish is overpriced. And I think that's a weird way to put it, because overpriced insinuates that he is not putting the cost into those fish to justify what he's charging. And I think the opposite is true. I think he's charging as little as he can, given the amount of care and the freight costs that go into the fish, because like he's literally making them put fewer fish per bag, increasing the volume of water, increasing the freight charge. He's got a freaking vet tech on board. So overpriced is not really accurate. Expensive is true. Brent and Lightcat, welcome. Yep. B-Wizzles buy from Dan's, and people always give me hell, but the fish do good. Yeah. And I mean, it's not like if you don't buy from Dan, your fish are going to die, but I sure like my odds when I buy from Dan. All right. Before I forget, let me dose some GH powder. Actually, I think what I might do, I have 2 more tanks to drain in the living room. I think I'll drain those tanks, and then oops, I've blipped. Hopefully, I'm back. This tank. I'm going to drain these 2 tanks, and then we'll check the temperature of my tap water, and then I'm going to go ahead and sign off and fill the tanks, because I've already gone through the tanks. It'd be kind of boring just filling them back up. And there's a stream happening. Is there a members only stream for Scotty at 6? And is Steamfot doing members only in like 9 minutes and stuff? Yeah. All right. Take a look at this tank. Hello, dog. Coco. Who's a good girl? See, you can see her rash coming back a little bit in the summer, but it's not nearly as bad as it used to be. Just have to stay on top of it during the summer, so it shouldn't get like super horrifically rashy. Those injections are helping a lot. Both, okay. Both Steamfot and Scotty. All right. Yeah, poor pupper. She is allergic to people. She's allergic to outside. Okay. Wow. Camera's doing some weird shit to the coloration of this tank, but this is where a lot of my alternate there is. This is a tank that I've had a lot of trouble with because of the mountain stone in it. With the CO2 injection lowering the pH, it was dissolving the mountain stone and raising the KH, and carbon equilibrium was a little bit more difficult. The scape looked really nice. I had the scape like that for 2 years. I finally just got fed up, and I took all of the mountain stone out and just turned it into kind of a Dutch style, just plants everywhere. And I just did that very recently, and now I've got to dial the CO2 back in. Looking at the drop checker, definitely needs more CO2. Happy anniversary, Tommy. Let's scroll up. How many tanks in total do I have? 20 that are currently in operation, and 2 that I have yet to do something with. Need to be filled and a plan made for them. So Mike is still here. Where is the... It's that alternate there. Yeah, there's some spot algae and stuff in this tank too. A little bit of hair algae. I'll get it back in order though. Have Coco do some tricks while she's right there. All right. Coco, mommy says you have to stop resting. Coco, who's a good girl? Coco, speak. She's like, why? Why you do this? Why? I'm gonna leave you alone. You're being a good girl. Oh, the mountain stone on an angle. Yeah. I'm tired. Can I go back to sleep? Sure. There she goes. Okay. Ooh, thunder. See, I gotta get this tank dialed back in. It has 2 Fluval 3.0s. It's very high light. So and some of the plants in here are slow growers, if I am not injecting a sufficient amount of CO2, it all goes to shit. Might be octopus. Okay. Okay, Mike said he sent me that. If it's all bits, I don't think I sent it, but maybe. Okay. then yeah, I have so many different varieties now. I don't know what I've got. So if Luke's saying it's ossifus and Mike says he thinks he sent me that, then odds are pretty good that's what it is. Which is a lot easier to say than so cool. Indeed, Luke was on the Fishfam live stream. It's a good channel. They do a lot of good interviews. And I asked Luke if his plant spreadsheet was up to date, and he said, "Hey, fuck you," which is a good answer. But I was curious because Luke filled out the plant form and asked for CO2 plants, and I'm just like, what could I possibly send him that he doesn't already have, given like half of the plants that I have in CO2, like they're CO2 required, are ones that he sent me. Never forget the P. People are dropping out. Oh well. This was just an experimental, like, I haven't walked around the fish room in a little while, so figured I'd do that since Kelly was out of town. Oh, thank you, Luke. Updating it today just for me. Hey, Lumpy Dog. Okay. That's good. And last tank to take a look at today. Then I'll go see how hot the tap water is. And then I will bid everyone adieu. I'll drain this one in a bit, but this is the tank with the ghost knife and blue avatar angel and some hiding glass catfish, some cold guppies, and some hiding orange Venezuelans that are like very up. They're like, oh, fuck off. Okay. All right. Let's see how hot the tap is. I don't have a 60 breeder. That's a 55. Oh, I guess it would help if I had the thermometer. Okay. Welcome to a glimpse of my everyday life in which I have things and then I set them down and they disintegrate. They just poof. They go away. They're gone. Oh, look. There it is. Yep. Hope that hose stays there. Me too. All right. No, that's not bad. 81. 81 even. Pretty close then. It was actually a lot cooler than I thought. Anyway, I think that's where I'll leave y'all. I'll get these tanks filled. I'll be tuning in to Bob's members only and then Scotty's later on. So thanks for hanging with me for a little while I do water changes that I neglected over the weekend. Appreciate it. And we'll see y'all later. Bye bye.